All right. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to look at our new phase. So we've done systems of equations. We've graphed them, and we've solved them using elimination. And this time we're going to use something called substitution method. Okay. So we're still trying to find our x and y as an ordered pair. So our answer is still going to be in the form of x and y. Okay. But this time, instead of doing elimination where we're subtracting, we're going to substitute. Okay, so for that, I need one of my variables to be isolated. So if you're looking at these variables, is one of my variables isolated? Do I know what x equals or do I know what y equals? I know that y equals 7x plus 12, right? So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to circle this answer because this is what y is equal to. And I'm going to draw an arrow to where my y is. Because when I rewrite this equation, I'm going to rewrite it as a new equation. But instead of y, I'm going to write what y is equal to. Okay? All right, so when I rewrite my problem, I'm not going to change anything except the y in the equation. So I'm going to take this bottom equation and I'm going to rewrite it. I'm going to rewrite negative 7x plus 7. But remember, I'm not writing y anymore. I'm writing what y is equal to. So in parentheses, I'm going to take what I was going to substitute and write that 7x plus 12. And then finish my equation. Equals 0. Huh? Yes. Okay, so this is going to take everything that we've learned so far and put it all together. So everything in your list and your steps, this is what you're going to do now. Okay? You're going to do everything on this list. Okay? So let's start with, do I have parentheses? Let me zoom out so I can make sure I get everything in there. Do I have parentheses? So what do I need to use to get rid of or eliminate those parentheses? I have to use distributive property. So I'm going to look at where my parentheses are, and I'm going to multiply 7 times 7x, and I'm going to multiply positive 7 times 12. Okay? So is this 7x involved in that distributive property problem? So I'm just going to go ahead and bring down negative 7x. So what is 7 times 7x? It's positive 49, don't forget your x. Bless you. And what is 7 times 12? 84. So it's positive 84, right? Because a positive times a positive gives me a positive. And that's going to equal 0. Okay? So I've eliminated my parentheses using distributive property. Do I have any like terms to combine? I do. What are my like terms? Negative 7x and positive 49x, right? So when I subtract, because that's this negative, right? Find the difference. 7 from 49, what do I end up with?
Multiply.
I'm subtracting negative 7, or adding. I'm adding, but they're opposite signs, so I'm going to find the difference. So 49 minus 7 is what? It's going to be positive 42x plus 84 equals 0. Right? So going back to my list, I combined like terms. Do I have an opposite to it add? Is there an inverse operation? Do I need to move this to this side? So I'm going to add the opposite. What's the opposite of 84? So I'm going to subtract 84. And remember, let's draw that line so we know that we're keeping that balance. We're going to subtract 84 from both sides. Right? So this is 0. Leaves me with just 42x on the left. 0 minus 84 becomes negative 84. Right? So I'm down to my last step. I added the opposite. Do I have to divide by a coefficient? Does my x or y have a coefficient? So what am I dividing both sides by?
42.
Right. So I'm going to divide both sides by 42. This becomes Juan, right? Or x is now equal to what? Careful. -2. Don't forget that negative there. Right? So now I'm not done. I know what x is. My x is going to be -2, right? But I don't know why. I don't know what y is. Here's my -2. I know what y is equal to. So I'm going to go ahead and take this -2 and substitute it into this top equation. So my equation is y equals 7 times, and instead of x, what am I going to say? -2 plus 12. Right? What is 7 times a -2? So I'm going to have -14 plus 12. What does y equal? How'd you get -26 if this is a negative and this is a positive? So I'm subtracting 12 from -14. What does that give me? -2, right? So my answer is -2, comma, -2. My x is equal to -2. My y is equal to -2. So all we did was take everything we've already done all year long and piled it into this using our wonderful steps that are up on the board and you should have written in your notes. Yes? Question?
How did you get to the
-14. So if I do a column method to make it easier for you, this is a negative, right? That's a positive. Which one's smaller? 12. So I'm going to subtract 12 from 14. What is 14 minus 12? And it's in the negative column. Okay, so I'm just adding them, but I have a negative and a positive. So I have to actually I'm sorry, what? This chart? Or the column method? Well, that's great. It's a fabulous tool, Matthew. If you use the column method every time you're adding and subtracting positive and negative numbers, you will never get a wrong answer. Okay? It's a tool. Tools are designed to make things easier. Do you have a question, Kevin?
Yeah, you know the aeroplanes, the one?
Mm-hmm.
Do you do the same thing with an x?
Yeah, except you're going to point to the x.
All right.
If I had x is equal to, then I'm going to point to the x. We're going to do one more. I'll let you guys pick which one you want us to do. And then listen carefully. Depending upon how well you're working, I may ask you to cross a couple off on the back side. So, I need you guys to work really, really hard. But first, which one do you guys want us to do together? 6 has some big numbers. Let's go ahead and do 6. Okay? So I'm still going to circle what I know what y is equal to, right? So I'm still going to circle that. And I'm going to draw an arrow to my y. Okay? Now, second step is I want to rewrite my equation. So I have -5x minus 4. I'm going to put my beginning parentheses because I'm not going to write y. I'm going to write what y is equal to. So I have a -2x plus 9. Close my parentheses and then finish my equation is equal to -21. Yes? Okay, so now, going back to my list, I have parentheses, so I'm going to eliminate them using distributive property. I'm going to multiply -4 times a -2x, and I'm going to multiply a -4 times a +9. This -5x is not part of my equation. So I'm going to write minus 5x. What am I going to multiply now? Which is going to give me what? Positive or -8? Because a negative times a negative gives me a positive. So positive 8x. And what's my next multiplication? And negative 4 times 9 is going to give me what? Negative 36. Good, because a negative times a positive is going to give me a negative. All right. I need to bring the rest of this equation over then. Minus 21. All right, so let's go back to my list. I did my distributive property. Do I have any like terms to combine? Negative 5x and a positive 8x. So again, column method tells me that I'm going to subtract my smaller number. So what is 8 minus 5?
3.
So this is going to be 3x, and then I'm going to bring down my 36 and equal to negative 21. Okay, so I combine my like terms. Can I add the opposite? What can I add? What's the opposite that I'm going to add here? I'm going to add 36 to both sides. That's going to give me a 0. Apparently loud as a horse, and he can sleep standing up too. Pick up your clipboard and start writing. So 3x, right? Because that's going to be 0. In case you need that. Right? So again, column method. Should I use column method to solve this part here? Yeah? 15? Okay, so 36 is positive, 21 is negative. I'm going to subtract 21 from 36, and that gives me 15 on the positive sign. So it's positive 15. What's my next step? Divide or multiply by the reciprocal? I'm going to divide by what number? 3. You know what x is equal to. So x is equal to 5. So x is going to be 5. I don't know what y is yet, so I can take that 5 and substitute it into this equation here. So we're going to say y is equal to negative 2, but instead of x, what am I going to write? 5. 2 times 5 plus 9. Right? Let me move this over. What is negative 2 times 5? Negative 2 times 5. What is it? Negative 10. Negative and a positive. Plus 9. So when I combine negative 9, or negative 10 and 9, what do I get? Do I need to write column method? 10 is negative, 9 is positive. I'm going to subtract 9 from 10. What do I get? Negative 1. Right? Does that make sense? Okay, so it's just taking everything we know and putting it together in order using the steps that we're really familiar with now. Okay, they're up on the board. You should have them written down. Yes? Okay. So work on the front side, and depending upon how well you're working, I may have you cross a couple off. Start on the front side. Any questions? All right, get to work.